All right, we are live. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about list comprehension and probably best to motivate this with an example. So imagine we have the problem where we want to sum the integers from 1 to 100. Right, so what we could do is something like my sum is equal to 0, and then use a list. So we could say for I and range, we're going to start at 1, and then we go up to 101, and then we can say my sum is plus or equal to I. Right, remember this is equivalent to my sum is equal to my sum plus 1, and then we can print out my sum. All right, and so we have 50, 50, right? So that would be the sum. So the other way we could do this is there's a built-in command, and what we could do is, so if I said x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and with numbers, what I could do is just print sum of x, and I'm going to get back 10. So it's going to sum those elements in x, and that's going to give me back the value of 10. So maybe an easier way to do this is I could just say print, sum range of 1 to 101, right? And this range is going to basically generate a list starting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 101, and I print that, and I get 50, 50. So I can take this code and just basically replace it with one line of code. Now, one of the things with range, so if I look at x is equal to, let's make it simple, range of 10, remember this is going to give me elements. Now, this range of 10. So one of the things you'll find is if I print x, it actually doesn't give me back a list. It gives me back this range function from 0 to 10, right? The 0 is just the option. That's a default value. And so basically what range is what's known as a lazy iterator. It's not technically an iterator, but basically it just doesn't bother creating the list. When you call range, it only creates it kind of on the fly. So it kind of saves memory that way. If you're interested in iterators, go ahead and Google them. I'm not going to cover them in this class. If I want to create this into actual list, I could just do list over range of 10, and now I get that list back. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is, pretty easy. It's probably easiest just to do sum range of 101 rather than writing the MySum type operator. Now, what happens is, rather than the short one is, what happens if we want to square? We want to look at the sum of I squared. So here we're going to do the sum of, let me just come down here. I'm going to cut and paste this one. So maybe we're going to do, I squared, divided by 4. I don't know what the number is. We're going to get, some big number out of this. And so the question is whether we can do this, any easier. So what I want to show you is a trick called list comprehension. You can do a lot on this. I'm going to cover just the very basics of it, but if you kind of look at more in-depth tutorials or some examples, you can play a lot of tricks with it. But let me just show you. So maybe we can say a variable, so we could do x is equal to I for I in range of 10. And then let's print this x. And what this is going to do is it's going to, basically what you're doing is you're creating a list with elements I, and then you're kind of doing for I in range of 10. So that's kind of the range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 9. But I could also do I squared. And in this case, right, we're squaring the different elements. So 0, 1, 4, all the way to 81. And then maybe we want to actually divide it by 4. And so I could get the elements where I divide it by 4 going all the way to the end. And so now if I want to look at the sum, I can do the range from 1. Technically, I don't have to do 1 because, the first element's 0, but let's make it explicit, 101. And now I can just print sum of x. And so I get exactly the same answer. And if I want to get, even more compact with this, I could just take this whole element, right? Because I don't even need to store in a variable. And I can get back, whoop, I hit the wrong character, and I hit this and I get it back exactly the same number. So that's kind of an example of list comprehension. Many examples in Python, you'll actually see this being used. I don't tend to use this that often in my own code just because basically I'm old and I was trained how to program in C. And, when I program often, I just translate my mind from kind of how I construct in C into Python. And this is kind of a Python. I don't know actually if other languages have it, but it's very common in Python. You can do a couple other things. So we could say axis, get rid of cap locks, control. So again, I could say x is equal to I in, range of I for I in range of 10. So that's going to give me, I got to print back the x. And so I'm going to get 0, 1, 3 all the way to 9. But I can put conditionals on this. So I could say if, x, if I'm looking for even numbers, then if I do modular division by 2, I can say ask, if x divided by 2 is equal to 0. What did I do here? Forgot the x. I had to do I, the element. And then I'm going to get back 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, right? Because here we're sticking the element I, but first I'm starting, for I in range of 10. And then if I, mod 2, right? So this integer division by, this is the remainder of I divided by 2 if it's equal to 0. Then I can stick in the values. Of course, I can make it a little bit more complicated. I could square those values and so on. So this is kind of a useful trick for constructing lists. We can also use it for constructing arrays. And it can make for pretty, tight code when you use kind of list comprehension in your programs. But you can also come back and, write out the explicit for loop, right? If we want to do the same code right here, right? We could say here, we could, if we want to pick only even numbers, we could say if I divided by our mod 2 is equal to 0, or the remainder, then we increment my sum. If not, we don't increment my sum. So just to show that the code's the same, so we'll come up here and we'll just sum it. And I sum it and I get 120. And if I come down here, I will also get 120. So this is one line of code that's achieved over here, and 4 lines of code. It's kind of up to you which one you want to use, but I just wanted to make you aware of this because you'll probably see this a lot in sample code. So I'm going to stop there. Again, if you have questions, put them in the comment section, send me email, post them to Piazza. Thank you. All right.